things before we actually get into the video. Like, very clear. One, this was my very first time making a wig, so I don't find this to be a video to teach you how to do it, rather more being a video of like learning with me or like following my experience of doing it. Definitely because one, there were a couple different things that I felt like I could have done after watching the footage and also watching a couple more videos. Two, because the different angles that I had my camera set up, they aren't the greatest, so you can't really see what I'm doing in some clips. I tried to zoom it in a little bit so you guys could see it better, but there are a couple things that I feel like should have been shown better, or that I could have shown better. But I definitely do know for next time when I do make a wig that there will be better angles, better teaching mechanisms and stuff like that. Another thing, all the products I use I will list down below. I got all my supplies from Clore, Beauty Supply, and Amazon. Anything from Amazon that is linked down below is an affiliate link, which means I do get a little bit of commission off of it if you guys do end up using the link. So I just wanted to make that clear. I'm not saying use the link, but I'm saying if you did end up going to buy any of these items, the links in my description bar are an affiliate link for Amazon only. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know those little things just before we actually get into the video. So the hair that I'm using today is from VrVouge on AliExpress. The package came with a beige wig cap, 3 bundles of 22-inch hair, and a frontal that was 20 inches. So the wig cap I ended up using was not mesh because I did actually order the wrong one. The whole time I thought I did order a mesh one, but I did not. So I just used a regular wig cap and it still ended up working perfectly fine for me. So what I'm doing is I'm just placing my frontal above or farther down than where the wig cap actually starts, just because if I did place it right where the wig cap did start, it would not end up fitting. My wig would be too small and I would have to start all over again. So I pinned it down further than where the wig cap actually began, and then I pulled it back so that it was flat on top of the wig cap, and I pinned it down. On the track, boy. I proceeded to do the same thing with the sides of the wig cap, so I pulled them down straight down to the side, not towards the back, because that will also, I don't really know how to explain it, so the video that I do post in the description will explain it better for you guys. But yeah, so I only have 3 pins right now, as you could see there, but I actually did go back in later and add 2 more T-pins in between the one that's in the middle and the one that's at the end, so there would actually end up being 5 pins there, just because it did help lay it flatter when I did go in and sew later on. I forgot to mention the size wig head that I'm using is a 22-inch wig head. I figured out the measurement by measuring my own head. Amazon does have them, so I will link that down below as well. The thread that I'm using also came from Amazon. It's kind of hard to explain how I started threading it. But basically I just did a regular stitch, so I'm gonna put my needle through the frontal, through the cap, and then I'm going to make sure that the needle was lying in between 2 of the strands so that it made a loop, and then when I pulled it tight, it secured it like a knot. That's basically how I stitched the entire wig. So you basically just have to do that every single time, just to make sure that's secure. A couple times I did mess up and I did knot the thread by accident, so I just went back carefully with the needle and like unknotted it, if that makes any sense. But yeah, there's not much to it. You just have to keep doing that all the way until you reach the end.
Track, boy.
Once you get towards the end of the wig cap itself, there is an elastic band there, a thicker band, but it's not a full band. It's just like little pieces of elastic, like the little white strings of elastic. So you're basically going to follow the same steps as you would as if it was a mesh cap. You're going to just sew through the top of the fabric and not the actual elastic itself. If you sew through the elastic, then it will not stretch, like the wig itself. When you go to put it on, it will not stretch over your head, which means you'll have to redo the whole wig all over again. So you're going to be sewing through just the top of the fabric. The video that I post will explain that to you better and show you better, but that's basically what you do once you get to the bottom of the wig cap.
DC on the track, boy. On the track, boy.
So I did not film how I started it just because, one, I was trying to figure out how to start it, so I did it on the second or third row. I showed you what I was doing. So I didn't cut the track, I just folded it over and I made sure that it was super secure where I made that fold. So what you're going to do when you're starting it is you're going to sew through the track just at the edges, just so that they're secure. But when you're actually sewing through on the wig cap, you'll see you're going to sew like under it or like over it or between it. I don't know the best way to say it, but you can see what I mean in the video. But yeah, it was just the same stitch that I was doing on the frontal, just all the way through. So I used about 2.5 bundles of hair, but it was a tedious process just because I was trying to figure it out, and then I was also having pieces of hair that were getting stuck. As you saw a little while back, I did spray down the hair a little bit with water just to help keep it secure, or help keep it like out of the way, like the flyaways out of the way. But I want to say, because it was my first time doing it, it did take me like a couple hours. I spent a total of 12 hours working on the wig. So between then, I was trying to figure out the frontal, and then I was also trying to figure out the tracks, how to lay them properly. Those lines that you see were about a pinky width spacing. My friend told me to do that just so that it wouldn't be one too full, and it was just easier that way, just so that I had a guide to go along when I was doing it. But having those there, I actually stopped following the guide. I didn't end up following it. Some parts of it I did, some I didn't, but those ones were about a pinky width, and they look very big, but my pinky, even though my fingers are small, my pinky is very thick. So that was about a pinky width space between those lines. I want to say I kept that same distance between each track, but I did want my wig to look fairly full, so I kind of just eyeballed it to see what fit best and what looked the best to my liking.
on the track, boy.
So at this part of the wig is where I started to cut the tracks, just because if you continue to fold it over, it would look bulky, and that would make it look unnatural. So I cut them just so that it would lay flatter, but I just went through the same process. All I did once I got to the end of the track was cut it.
On the track, boy.
I finished, I just cut that excess wig cap out. So like I was saying before, with the frontal, when you're placing it, you don't want to place it right on top of where the wig cap itself starts. You want to place it a little further down, and then now I'm just cutting that excess part out. Next, I went on to bleaching the knots. So what I'm doing is I sprayed a little bit of Got2b on the lace, just so that it wouldn't seep through the lace. This packet that I was using, I got at my local Shoppers, just because when I ordered the bleach and stuff from Beauty Supply, it didn't come in when I needed it to. So I just used this. You don't want the consistency to be watery, you want it to be fairly thick. Either mine was still a little too watery, or using the brush was the wrong thing for me to do, because as it was sitting there, it was like I have a couple of strands that you can't see that are hidden that were pretty blonde, and it was seeping through. So you do want to use something else. I see people use like a plastic butter knife just so that it's spread, but I also feel like I could have made my consistency a little thicker, so I didn't have to use too much developer. I used volume 10 developer just because I was a beginner. I didn't want to use too high of a volume and screw up, so I'd rather wait longer and use a a lower volume developer. But I did end up only having it sit there for about 45 minutes, and it came out okay. I could have done another round there because there were a couple knots that I found that weren't bleached, but I was plucking the wig anyway, so I'm like, majority of it's going to be gone and you're not going to see it. I was more concerned about the front of the wig. ended up washing out the bleach with a purple shampoo, just to help tone it a bit. And then for plucking, I didn't really put too much of me plucking in it, as I later sat down off camera and like really went to town on plucking it. But yeah, I took my time. Even though this clip is sped up, I was moving fairly slow just because I didn't want to over pluck my wig. But yeah, I did it section by section, so I kind of went to the front and then I did either side of the wig, and then at one point in this clip here you see me kind of just going like throughout the whole front of the wig. I did end up sectioning off parts after. Like I said, I did go more in depth off camera with plucking. I spent maybe about an hour kind of just perfecting it to see how I wanted it to be, but it actually came out pretty good, and I really liked how it looked. I did let the wig air dry overnight, and I did straighten it afterwards. I did have to blow dry it just a little bit more just because the ends weren't completely dry yet. I ended up using this flat iron I got off of Amazon. I'll have it linked down below, but it works wonders. Like, I love it. It's amazing. I've recommended it to a couple people because they were looking for flat irons, and this is definitely one I would recommend. It's very inexpensive. It's amazing. Like, I love it so much, but like honestly, it was worth the money and it's really good.
On the track, boy.
So that was the video. I really hope you guys enjoyed learning with me. I definitely will be making a couple more videos of me making wig. This one was my first time doing it, so there's obviously things that I did that I feel like I know I can change for the next time I do it, and it's definitely something that I do want to film. The part 2 to this video will be me actually installing the wig. The video I felt was too long for me to add that part in because that's a whole nother like hour, 2 hours of editing, of like footage to edit on its own, so that would have made the video like super long, and I know people aren't gonna watch that. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video. Honestly, truly, let me know if you guys do want to see another video like this. I'll probably be making one within the next month or so. I really had fun doing this. It was a great experience. Definitely something I'm glad I did while in quarantine because it definitely took up like a full day or so of my time. So it definitely kept me like active and kept me occupied while being stuck inside. Please give this video a thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel for more content like this, and also share this video if you did enjoy it. But like I said as well, any videos that I use personally to get my information from, and also certain techniques from, I will link down below. One of those people that I did watch was Slayed by Jordan. His videos are like great, so I'll link the one that I used that I was actually watching while I did the wig. And there's another video of someone using a cap like the one that I did, so I will definitely link that one down below as well. I will see you guys in my next video.